Welcome to Court Helicopter Explainer, where we are dealing with the question of innovations, the law of the offences on innovations. Many of the young people are creators, either content creators, industrial creators, manufacturing creations. There's a lot of innovation. The world is now being moved by innovation. Court Helicopter News always tells you that only those who are innovators and providers of solutions will continue flourishing in this economy. The economy today is based on innovations. M-Pesa was an innovation in Kenya here. It has gone global. It has built Kenya into a serious industry. But are there offenses about innovations? Yes. The Penal Code deals with the questions of trademarks. The Penal Code deals with the questions of patents. How does the law protect innovations so that you don't get arrested for interfering with somebody's innovation? The young content creators on the streets of Nairobi, do you know there is the law that protects your content creation? What does the law say? And this one, because we are addressing a massive constituency of young people, we will go slowly for them to understand what the law is. Trademarks are defined in section 380. A trademark is one, a mark other than a trademark registered under the Trademark Act, which is lawfully used by any person to denote any chattel to be in an article or a thing of the manufacturer, workmanship, production, or merchandise of such person, or be an article or thing of any peculiar or particular description made or sold by such person. This is something manufactured and owned by somebody. A company like Safaricom owns their M-Pesa thing, their Safaricom issue. B, any mark or sign which is in pursuance of any law in force for the time being relating to registered designs is to be put or placed upon or attached to any chattel or article during the existence or continuance of any copyright or other sole right acquired under the provisions of such law. This is a mark that denotes ownership. If you go to KCB, you see their mark. If you go to Equity Bank, you see their mark. If you go to Old Mutual, you see their mark. If you look at Court Helicopter, you'll see our mark. That is owned by us. Court Helicopter's logo and design shows who the owner of Court Helicopter is. So that is the definition as provided for under the Trademark Act, Cap 506, which shortly we'll be dealing with it when we shall be dealing with intellectual property. Then counterfeiting trademarks. What are the offenses when you counterfeit a trademark? Counterfeit is you are plagiarizing. Those ones who went to university, you know very well, you are not supposed to use somebody's works pretending it to be yours. In academic circles, it's called plagiarism. In industry, in commerce, it is called counterfeiting. You go to the shop, you get something genuine and something counterfeit. It looks similar, like the real one. Unless you are an expert, you cannot be able to know that. What is counterfeiting trademarks? 1. Any person who does any of the following things, that is to say, 1, forges or counterfeits any trademark. If you do a forgery of a trademark of another company, that is counterfeiting. Any forgery, it's not genuine. It is a counterfeit. 2, any person who applies any trademark or any forged or counterfeit trademark to any chattel or article not being in the merchandise of any person whose trademark is so forged or counterfeited. The young people, you walk, you want your bottle of Hennessy. You want your wine, the original wine from France. But the sticker there is a forged. It resembles your normal wine. It resembles your normal cloth. It resembles your normal Adidas wear. It resembles your normal Canon camera. But indeed, it is not. That is counterfeiting. C, any person who applies any trademark or any forged or counterfeited trademark to any chattel or article not being of that is a forgery. So if every person committing any such misdemeanor as aforementioned shall forfeit all chattels and articles and all these things, it is an offense to do this thing, and if you are found with this offense, you will go in for 7 years. Make sure you don't misuse the counterfeit or you don't misuse the original trademarks. We move to personation. Very important. Personation. 3682. What is personation? People talk about impersonation. There is no law called impersonation. It is personation. Personation. Any person who with intent to defraud any person falsely represents himself to be some other person, living or dead, is guilty of a misdemeanor. Any person presenting himself or herself to be another person. You know very well Wakili Danstan Omari. Then somebody meets you and tells you, I am Wakili Danstan Omari. And Wakili Danstan Omari is alive. That is personation. Somebody stops you on the road and tells you, you know, I'm a policeman. Where is your national identification card? He's not a policewoman. She's not a policewoman. That is personation. It is not only personation of human beings who are alive. You can personate a dead person. Somebody walking now and saying, I am Raila Odinga, the enigma. And we know very well, Raila Odinga, the enigma, passed on. So people can personate a dead person. People can personate anybody who is alive. The reason is they want to deceive, they want to defraud, they want for a certain purpose. That is what is called personation. But remember, can a boyfriend be arrested for personating to a girl that he owns a flat at Kileleshu when the guy is Karabandiko? Can this person be arrested and be jailed for personation? The girl tells you she is the daughter of President William Ruto. And you believe it. Can that person be arrested for personation? Keep watching. We need to know whether personation applies in love circles. It goes on to say, if the representation is that the offender is a person entitled by will or operation of law to any specific property and he commits the offense, then he'll go in for 7 years. The offense of personation is 7 years. 383. Falsely acknowledging deeds and recognizes. Any person who without lawful authority or excuse, the proof of which lies on him, makes in the name of any other person before any court or person lawfully authorized to take such an acknowledgement of liability of any kind, or an acknowledgement of a deed or other instrument, is guilty of a misdemeanor. If you appear before somebody pretending that you are the person who he was expecting, for example, you appear that you are a sub-counter administrator and you are appearing before a area chief, he salutes you because he thinks you are that person. That is personation. If you get an acknowledgement that is not yours by virtue of personation, then you'll go in for 7 years. 384. If you personate yourself as the person in a certificate, any certificate, if you personate your person, then that is an offense. For example, any person who alters any document and you present it, you'll go in for 7 years. 385. Lending, etc. Certificate of personation. If you are lend something by personating Omari, you walk to somewhere, you say, my name is Omari, my name is the Chief Justice, Mother Kome, my name is the Inspector General of Police, you get credit by virtue of lying. You will go in for personation. Personation on a person named in a document or a testimony, or if you get anything by virtue of personation, you have committed an offense. Then we have attempts and conspiracies to commit crimes and accessories after they are fact. 388. If you attempt something and you fail, you commit a crime. And lastly, if you commit an attempt to commit an offense, you'll go in as provided for in Article 389 of the Penal Code for 7 years. Then we have soliciting or inciting others to commit an offense. Soliciting, it's a very, very serious offense that people need to understand. When do you solicit? What does it mean? Any person who solicits or attempts to procure another to do any act or make any omission, whether in Kenya or elsewhere, commits an offense and he will be jailed for 7 years. So, if you solicit, for example, letting people to do something, you are looking for them to do a crime, that person, you'll go in for 7 years. What about neglect to prevent a felony? You are here seated in your office. You see somebody arming themselves to and kill. Is it your duty to stop that person? Suppose you don't. What happens? Neglect to prevent a felony. Every person who, knowing that a person designs to commit or is committing a felony, fails to use all reasonable means to prevent the commission or completion thereof, is guilty of a misdemeanor. Sasa ndio you. Don't say, I'm not a policeman to stop a crime being committed. Don't say, I'm not a judicial officer to stop a crime being committed. Every person, every Kenyan, you have a duty to stop a commissioning of a crime. So if you watch a crime being committed and you don't stop it, you'll be arrested and you'll be jailed. How will you implement this? Somebody has a gun. He wants to shoot. What can you do? You have a duty Now you understand why you call the police anytime you see a crime being committed. If you cannot stop it physically, because you can be hurt, you now call the police. You inform the police. I have seen somebody armed walking like this is likely to commit a crime. The responsibility goes further. We taught you here on the law of arrests that you can arrest under the citizenship arrest. You can get somebody who is likely to commit a crime, arrest him, take him to the police. It is your responsibility to commit a crime, to stop a crime. Don't say, that's not my responsibility. You are driving on the road. You see another car hit a pedestrian. He drives off. The accident vehicle does not stop. You don't bother. It is your duty to take the registration number of the vehicle that caused that accident, call the police and report. That is under this section we have said 392. You are a neighbor. Your neighbors are involved in domestic violence, serious war. The woman is screaming, she's being murdered. You close your ears, you put your loud music, and you continue. The police come to pick up body. Then you are arrested that you did not help that woman who was being murdered. Then you say, my boss, I mind my own business. Why should anybody ask me to tell the police that a crime is being committed here? This is section 92. You are somewhere in Body Forest and you see terrorists from neighboring countries entering the country and you don't report that we have seen terrorists from a neighboring country coming to this country. You'll be arrested because that is in contravention of section 392. You are on the road and you are a petrol attendant and you see as you are fueling the car somebody injured, cut in a car booth. As you open to put fuel, you see a dead body in a booth. It is your duty to call the police and alert the police. If you fail to that, you'll be arrested under section 392. It is your duty. Today, you have now learned to prevent any form of crime. And that is why Court and Copter read this properly and understood, and we decided that we can also stop crime. We can reduce crime by bringing the law to you live so that we prevent crime. As a law-abiding media house, remember, we have a duty to prevent crime. We have brought you the law on narcotics. We have brought you about the law of the Traffic Act. We have brought you about the law of the Children's Act. We have brought you about the law of the Land Act. All these ones because we believe such a serious information needs to be given to the Kenyans to understand that it is their duty to protect and report the crime. The DCI and the police have numbers. The numbers that for you need to report to. Originally, it was 999. There's a new number that we'll be posting here. As you see, whenever you see a crime, report that number to the police. Call this number running down here. Tell the police a crime is likely to be committed. A crime is being committed right now. The person who has taken a crime is here. What is the role of your phone? Why don't you take a video and capture the crime being committed? Somebody is murdered in a public place and no video of the murderer is shown. We expect the police to get this information from where? The police were not there. You, under Section 392 now, know that you have the right to call the police and you have the right to get the video and inform the police. In Section 396, 397, 398, which are the final provisions or sections of the law, of the Penal Code, we are looking with the fact, what we call accessories after the fact. An accessory after the fact, very many people are found in this matter. A crime has been committed elsewhere. You are not there. You are not even aware that that crime was being committed. But after the crime has been committed, you come into the picture. You are now aiding that person who committed the crime to escape, to run away, to clean the environment. You are assisting that person to remove the phone. You are assisting that person who murdered somebody to clear and throw the body. You are assisting that person who committed the offense by, as a doctor, provide treatment for that person who was shot and ran away from the gunshot of the police. You are after the fact. The law talks of the fact being the offense when it was committed. You are not there. You are not part of it. But you became part of the transaction after the offense has been committed. Then you are called an accessory after the fact. You are an OCS. Your police officer shoots somebody, then comes and tells you, I've shot somebody illegally. Then you try to reconstruct or design the scene to show that that person committed suicide. But what about the wife? If a husband has murdered and he has come home and he has told the wife, I have murdered somebody, is the wife supposed to go and report this to the police? This is the very, very, very many questions that Kenyans are asking. Our team of Lewis, our team of Vivian, our team of Cyrus, our team of Bramwell have received serious messages asking, what is this thing called accessory to a fact when I was never there when the offense was being committed? Will I stop somebody who has come to ask for water to drink before he dies just because he has committed an offense? The answer is here. A definition of accessory after the fact. A person who receives or assists another who is to his knowledge guilty of an offense in order for him to escape punishment is said to become an accessory after the fact to that offense. If you are assisting that person to evade punishment, you are guilty of an offense called accessory to the fact. 2. A wife does not become an accessory after the fact to an offense of which her husband is guilty by receiving or assisting him in order to enable him to escape punishment, or by receiving or assisting in her husband's presence and by his authority another person who is guilty of an offense in the commission of which her husband has taken part, in order to enable that other person to escape punishment. Nor does a husband become an accessory after the fact to the offense of which his wife is guilty by receiving or assisting her in order to enable her to escape punishment. So a wife or a husband can never be an accessory to a fact, because this is your husband, this is your wife. You cannot be arrested. But a girlfriend, a boyfriend, my friend, if you assist your boyfriend who has done a crime to escape punishment, if you assist your girlfriend who has beaten another girlfriend, you will be an accessory to the fact, after the fact. I'm addressing the Gen Z, the millennials. You have always been in situations in bars and clubs where war erupts. Your colleague or your fiancé hits another person. Then you use your car to remove that person to go and hide him. When the police have been called, you will be arrested. You are an accessory after the fact. You are not supposed to hide anybody who has done a crime. We taught you in section 396 that it is your responsibility to prevent a crime. And if you don't, then you go in. What is the punishment of accessories after the fact to felonies? You will be imprisoned for 3 years under section 397. And lastly, the last one of the sections of the law, section 398, punishment of accessories after the fact to misdemeanors. Any person who becomes an accessory after the fact to a misdemeanor is guilty of a misdemeanor. All those are the sections that we have dealt with. Why did we do this? What was the philosophy? Why did Court Helicopter give you all these explainers? Because section 7 of the Penal Code says any ignorance of the law is no defense against the law. Wakili Danstan Omari from Court Helicopter, doing the second last episode on the law of the Penal Code. The last episode, we shall be dealing with processing of a criminal from the point of reporting to the police. How do you report to the police? The telephone numbers. We shall be giving you the helpline on matters children. We shall give you how do you report a crime? How do you prevent a crime? How do the DCI work? What are the forensics laboratories? What are the departments within the DCI that deals with crime, so that you are able to know how to run away from crime? Wakili Danstan Omari, always a pleasure having you. Thank you, and wishing you a crime-free environment. And wear your tracksuit, wear your jeans, take the fast escape from crime. See you in the last episode.